thanks to Noom for supporting Mueller, She Wrote. Sticking to a weight loss plan can be hard. Noom is designed for results. It's out with the old habits and in with the new. Sign up for your trial today at Noom, Noom.com/AG. And thanks to the app called Neighbors by Ring for supporting Mueller, She Wrote. If you want to help make sure you and your neighborhood are safe, download the free Neighbors app today. Go to ring.com/AG to download from iOS or Android app stores. That's ring.com/AG. And this episode of Mueller, She Wrote is brought to you by Crest. The Crest 3D whitening kit removes over 10 years of tough set-in stains to give you noticeably whiter teeth, 100% guaranteed. For $20 off your first Crest whitening strip kit, go to crestwhitesmile.com and enter promo code AG at checkout.
This is Andrew McCabe, and you're listening to Mueller, She Wrote.
So to be clear, Mr. Trump has no financial relationships with any Russian oligarchs.
That's what he said. That's what I said. That's obviously what our position is.
I'm not aware of any of those activities. I have been called a surrogate at a time or two in that campaign, and I did not have communications with the Russians.
What do I have to get involved with Putin for? I have nothing to do with Putin. I've never spoken to him. I don't know anything about him other than he will respect me. Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing.
So, it is political. You're a communist.
No, Mr. Green. Communism is just a red herring. Like all members of the oldest profession, I'm a capitalist.
Hello and welcome to Mueller, She Wrote. I'm your host, AG, and with me as always are Jaleesa Johnson.
Hello.
And Jordan Coburn.
Hello.
We were in Philadelphia this week, and we wanted you to hear parts of the live show. But since we recorded it midweek and other news has happened, I wanted to kind of give you a quick update and make sure that we covered it real quick up front before we play you some of the live show. So we want to first announce a new tour date also in Boston on Thursday, November 7th at City Winery. That's on number 1 Canal Street. Doors at 7, show at 8. There is a VIP meet and greet for patrons. Pre-sale for patrons begins this Wednesday, July 24th at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. We will email you the code to your patron email. So check your junk. But seriously, pre-sale for patrons, if you want the VIP meet and greet, our San Francisco sold out in an hour or two for the VIP. Most of the VIPs go super fast. So if you want them, take advantage of the Patreon pre-sale. And that happens this Wednesday at noon Pacific. Again, we'll email you the code. And, tickets will be available to the public on Friday at noon. So for ticket links and details, head to MuellerSheWrote.com. All right, guys, that's pretty much all I have for the intro. Did you guys have fun in Philly?
Yeah, Philly was great. Very hot, but the people are awesome.
Yeah, totally.
Jaleesa, you got interviewed by Fox News on the street?
Yeah, not the Fox News we hate, just the local guys. And
a local affiliate just stopped you?
Exactly. And I was just like blown away that was newsworthy, just how hot it was. He actually said, hey, can we talk while you walk across the street? So he had an umbrella he held over us, and they interviewed us as we were, because they didn't want to stop. They were like, it's too hot to stop and interview. So they just walked alongside of us. And that's how they got the interview, because otherwise I would have just said no. But they're like, I'm just going to keep walking with you.
Because you were on a mission. I think you were out getting Sharpies or something.
Exactly.
That's
yeah. So mission failed. I just got drenched.
It was so hot. When you stack that humidity on top of it, and it's unreal to us here in California. We're like, what is this even? It was so hot. But we did go see Eastern State Penitentiary. That was cool.
That was so cool. Also pretty hot.
Yeah, when I was in there just as a tourist, not locked up, I was thinking, oh my God, these people must have been so hot in here.
Seriously. I had a really crazy moment when we walked inside one of the cells, and it was the audio tour, and you're just sitting there looking out from the cell, just imagining actually being there, and it's way trippy. It's so fucking crazy. And the interesting fact is that the people that built the prison thought that was the more humane option, right? They created that and designed that to be humane, to try to give them time to repent.
Yeah, what they figured was because before in England they just put everybody in one room and they all beat the shit out of each other and pissed everywhere and shit everywhere. But they did literally that's what they did. And then but that wasn't even their incarceration. That was waiting for your punishment. Was usually the stocks or the some sort of weird cruel and unusual punishment.
Yeah, the shackle wrist head thing.
Yeah, the stocks or I can't remember all the names of all the weird or you get flogged publicly in the public square. So these guys were like, let's be humane about imprisoning people. Let's give them their own room with total silence so that they aren't distracted, and put a hood on them when they're in public spaces so they can't see anyone else.
That was crazy to me.
So they're
hood.
totally isolated so that they can think about what they've done wrong and repent and be penitent. And that's where the word penitentiary comes from. I didn't know that. That's so cool.
Very interesting.
And then they had this one little exercise yard. They could go out like twice a day for 30 minutes. And it's like literally like an 8x10 just open to the sun. So you could be outside for a half an hour.
That must have, in contrast to how yards, it seems, are today, that must have been nice, though, to just have your own space outside and not have to constantly be watching your back. But obviously there were a lot of other issues, like how inhumane it is for people to be in solitude.
Yeah,
for
that's
24
it. Like,
hours a day.
We'd think how nice to have your own space and your own solitude, but it was probably, and many studies have shown, like super mentally torturous to have that kind of isolation.
Yeah, but then seeing sorry, we could talk about this.
I know. And next on our prison podcast, no, but it was really great.
It was really cool.
And I just felt like I was in Shawshank the whole time. We talk about Shawshank on the show.
Oh, and then the last thing, they had that really cool mass incarceration exhibit at the end of it, and it was in the air conditioning, so that was awesome. They had they had a great 20-minute film, maybe 10 minutes, just documenting the rise of the war on nonviolent drug offenses, basically, and just how that effectively just completely blew up our prison system for profits.
And how in the 1800s, early 1900s, we have the same amount of people going to prison for violent crime than we do now, but we have 10 times as many people in prison for nonviolent crime.
Yeah, and then they had that part where you can confess to a crime that you've done and write it down on a paper, and then they put them all up on a wall as part of the exhibit.
They're like, gotcha.
Yeah, but then but they're anonymous, right? But then some of them are statements.
That would suck. You get a knock on your door.
Yeah. You dumb idiot. You thought we weren't videoing this whole thing? Come on.
This whole thing is a trap.
Yeah. We have a low budget. We take it where we can. But yeah, then some of the statements were from people that were actually incarcerated for their crimes, and then you could see which ones were real and which ones had real punishments and which ones didn't.
Which people were in prison and which people never went to prison for what they did. It was an interesting contrast too.
Someone was like, I hit someone in a hit and run, and I saw it on the news, and they didn't die, but they almost did. And that was a guy that didn't go to prison.
Yeah, and then you push the button to see if they were a prisoner or not, and they're like, nope, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Hit and run, dude.
Totally.
Tell it like it is. And seriously, knock knock. But no, probably not. So anyway, we're going to do some quick news stories, and then we're going to get on to the Philly show with Andrew Torrez and our interview with Asha Rangappa, which was great. She was fantastic. Almost got to sing karaoke with her, but we all went to sleep. We were like, we're tired. So during a Trump rally, while we were on stage in Philly, Trump's crowd broke out into chants of "Send her home." I'm sure you've all heard of this by now.
Right, send her back.
Send her back. That's right. Send her back. A variation of lock her up, really. But in reference to Trump's racist tweets about Ilhan Omar and 3 other women of color in Congress who are all actually citizens, 3 of them born here in the U.S. This is not news to you by now. It's actually gotten a lot of coverage. A lot of people are calling it a distraction from Epstein or Mueller. But, I mean, these stories are important in and of themselves, and so, don't add us for covering this because it's a big deal. And the next day, Trump went on TV and lied about it, saying once he heard the chants, he spoke quickly to stop it because he didn't like it very much and then moved on. But if you watch the tape, he let it go for 13 seconds until it stopped.
I've actually seen a video. It's 2 videos. I don't know if it's that one, but it's 2 videos side by side. It's Trump letting them do the chant, and then someone cracking or solving a Rubik's Cube
underwater
in the same amount of time. Yeah, underwater. So it was Trevor Noah?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
That's awesome.
So great.
Yeah, they're things you could do in the amount of time Trump did not respond.
That's rad.
Yeah.
What a funny, what a funny bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so 13 seconds, and he waited until it died down, and he like looked around as it was happening, like he was taking it all in. You know, he just seemed.
Yeah, I think Stephen Colbert said he was basking in it like a racist iguana or something in the racist sun, or he had a better way of putting it, but it was just basking in it basically.
Basking in the racist sun.
In the racist sun, yeah, like an iguana.
Oh my god. I mean, I hate to laugh, but those are really good jokes.
Yeah, I never thought of the sun being racist, so that's pretty funny to me.
I'm surprised that anyone is surprised. Mm-hmm. Like, people are just now going, Donald Trump's a racist.
This is the most racist thing I think he's overtly done, and I don't blame people that tune out the news for tuning into this.
That's true. It is really, really overt. I mean, this is...
definition discrimination, right?
We're all waiting for the N-word. And in fact, it is... Because in the EEOC, the labor law, it gives as an example of something that is discriminatory towards someone's national origin to say, go back where you came from.
Yep.
Like, it's a literal definition of racism in our employment laws. Like, that's what they use. Yep. So this is really blatant. But yeah, you're right. I mean, no, we're not surprised, but this is so overt that I think it does deserve the attention that it's getting in the news. I don't think this is. I don't like it when people are like, this is a distraction. No, do better.
They're not wrong about it being a distraction, but yeah, just because it is doesn't mean we shouldn't talk about it. Like, Trump's tactic may be distracting, but these things are still important. Like, he's distracting us with equally crazy shit that needs to be addressed.
Yeah,
it's overwhelming, but it's still. It could be a strategy of his. Even if it's not, it's still, we should talk about it, you know? Like, I just think it's important to talk about regardless.
Absolutely. And I think as liberals, we can do and focus on more than one thing at one time.
We can multitask. We can solve a Rubik's Cube underwater
while
we talking about
a racist iguana.
Yeah. I mean, I can't, but someone can.
Well, because he's...
I bet you could if you gave yourself a chance.
He's killing two birds with one stone because he gets the benefit of distracting people, potentially, and then also the benefit of perpetuating this insane racism that's like just okay now.
Throwing red meat to his base.
Yeah,
totally.
And his base, I would say his fans, but that's what they are eating it up. They're
yeah.
And they're defending him, saying it wasn't racist because they didn't mention people by name and they didn't mention any races. And I mean,
I've heard context clues are something we all learned growing up. So why all of a sudden are we playing this dumb card? Like, if he doesn't say it, like,
right, like
he's
we
not
all
racist.
thought he was talking about 4 white Irish
Voldemort
men?
or something. Like, where you don't have to say the name. We know who you're talking about because we are smart enough. We are collectively, and they are too, I think. But they're playing stupid.
Yeah,
maybe some of them actually think he's not being racist.
And they think that they're like, well, they stood up and said they're talking about us. He didn't say they were talking about.
Because he's a coward in a lot of ways.
But he's mentioned them like 10 times since then. So he's not denying it. He's not saying, I didn't mean you for. He loves the enemy.
Right.
So,
it's called comprehensive listening, right? You put together someone's actions and their patterns with their words and you get a story. Like, what if it's not that, what is he talking about?
Well, I think it's because they see
exactly.
They're saying that we're trying to make a judgment on his character and that you can't deduce that or say that definitively from words that he has said. You
sound like Mueller.
Like, right, exactly.
You have to have very specific, frank, word for word evidence in order for, and you have to be smart enough to do it in order for me to charge a crime, which I can't anyway because there's a memo. So he's like, no, I didn't specifically say a name. I didn't specifically say any race.
I just said these specific words.
I'm just saying if you don't love it, leave it. Like, which is still racist.
Yeah, just because you can apply it to other racist scenarios and doesn't make it not racist. Mm-hmm. Like,
and then you have Democratic pushback over the, what are they, Thomas Jefferson rules or something? The rules of conduct or whatever. Basically these
the decorum parliamentary stuff.
Yeah, exactly. That says you can't attack basically another person's
right. You can't call people a name or anything.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say a derogatory word about a person.
It'd be slander or something, or what is it called? Like,
it's called what is it? Parliamentary decorum. It breaks the rules of decorum.
So if Trump did say, even though he talks about people all the time, if he did
he's not,
say their
he's not
name,
in the Senate or the House.
There
it's
you go.
Just House rules.
Just the White House. Yeah.
Yeah. Like they
no rules
deal.
for him
because they were trying to pass that resolution, which you're probably going to get to, I imagine.
No.
Okay. Yeah, they were just trying to pass a resolution
because we cover that in the Philly show. But because she got up and called his remarks racist, and they wanted that stricken from the record. And her argument was, I'm not saying he's racist. I'm saying that, he's racist.
If your actions are you.
But for the decorum rules, I wasn't calling him a bad name. I was saying his words were this.
Right.
I was characterizing his words. And so then he glommed onto that like an idiot,
Yes.
saying, see, she said I'm not racist. She said it's just my words. And
Yes.
I can't believe this is even happening.
Right. And that it's being cloaked as a battle of words. Like the Democrats are saying the words were racist. They're saying the words were not racist.
Right.
And nobody is able to even
address
talk about
the
this piece
issue.
of shit person.
Totally.
that
who
he's
is
racist.
Yes. And on top of that, we have the whole anti-Semitism element of this argument that even if, because I'm not Jewish, I can't say for a fact that something wasn't offensive to a Jewish community that came out of, Ilhan Omar's mouth. But I do think that there are some races who are racist against Jewish people hiding behind that. It's like, I don't know if you guys picked
They
up
are,
on that.
because
Yeah.
I can say that, for example, that the NRA, it's all about the Benjamins. And that's not a racist or anti-Semitic thing to say. But if I say that the AIPAC or the conference that supports Israel really hardcore is all about the Benjamins, then I'm an anti-Semite.
Yeah, because it's triggering, and in reference to some
To a
people
trope.
racist trope. Yeah.
A racist trope.
And in
So
this case,
probably best case scenario, not to call a group of Jewish people all about the money.
Yes.
That wasn't her intent, and she did apologize and acknowledge that she did it.
Which
and
is really important.
it
People will
is.
forget that easily.
And talk to her constituents too about it, and was like just incredibly open.
Yeah, because
and-
everyone can grow. Even Trump, if he just actually owned up to shit, could grow. He just refuses to at every turn.
his whole thing is deny,
Yeah.
accuse the other side of the same thing.
Right, you're
and
supposed to
then
be pure,
deny
and I
her.
can do whatever I want. Like, where do you go from there, right?
But yeah, it is tough, and we've talked about this on past episodes. If you want to criticize the government of Israel, it's really hard to not be called an anti-Semite by this administration or by Republicans in
The same
Congress.
people that say Jews will not replace us, right? Those guys.
Those guys.
Yeah.
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 Walmart torch guys.
Totally. Fine guys.
No
Yeah.
blood for soil. Those
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what really sucks about.
People with actual swastikas on their bodies are calling us anti-Semitic for criticizing the government. of
It
Israel.
blows my mind.
Well, and part of like criticizing the Jewish people, right, is by connecting them to money, which is a force that more or less governs everything. You can use them as a scapegoat when you're trying to
Totally. It goes
divert
both
from
ways.
the real issues as
Yep.
well. So it's just like, yeah, God.
Yeah, another distraction, but also something that needs to be addressed.
And that's why she acknowledged it and apologized. She was like, oh, I was just saying that they're bought by, like, this group of Republicans is bought by money. They're
Right,
just
which
bought
is
and
also
sold.
a fact. Money is a huge part of our relationship with Israel, and that's
It is just,
undeniable.
I guess, as a congressperson or I guess as a public figure, just be
Yeah.
careful about saying
Yeah.
that any group of people who are specifically Jewish
all about the Benjamins.
Right, that's-
Because Trump is all about the Benjamins. I mean, he
Right.
said Saudi Arabia can kill whoever they want because they're giving us money.
Right.
That's all about the Benjamins.
Right.
But he's
And
not
she
Jewish.
noted
so-
that.
Yeah. Oh, she did. Good for her. That's
she was like,
good
look,
point.
she's like, look, it's that, and then I said it, and it's a trope, and I should have been aware of that. It's not what I meant, and I do apologize if anyone was offended by it, like a fucking
Yeah,
grown-ass
That's
woman.
how it should be.
Yes, because underneath, she is not a racist, and the other person is.
Yeah.
So-
And I think it's still important.
But are
with-
her words racist?
Right. And if that
yes,
happens.
and then they passed something condemning it, didn't they?
Exactly.
Yeah,
yeah.
they condemned his
And that's how
language.
you do that. It's like we
Well, no,
can't
her
be
too.
perfect.
I remember back when that happened.
Oh yeah,
I'm
they
pretty
passed
sure,
a
sorry to
resolution, but it was
interrupt you.
pretty watered down, quote unquote,
right.
as a Republican
in
said.
general, like in a general anti-Semitism resolution.
And good. So be it. If people were offended, then yeah, let's address it and then let's move on. And if she doesn't do offensive things repetitively, then that problem is done. But Trump is like a whole different thing. This is his factory. You know? Like, this
and
is what
nobody's
he-
mad about signing a non-anti-Semitic bill. Everyone's
No.
like, yeah, cool. In fact, probably there were Republicans who didn't sign it, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is against racism.
Yeah.
I
put my
can't be
name
a part
on
of
it.
this.
Well, and why does
I could be wrong, though. They might have all voted for it. You might have been
Maybe. Yeah,
unanimous.
Yeah. And then why does she come out, or why does she not get to come out? And, you know, I'm not saying she should have done this, but for her to say, you know, this is insane for you to call me an anti-Semite and to push back so hard on that, like Trump is pushing back, it's very indicative, again, of how different the situations are, and that he's trying to reference her again now and her anti-Semitism, quote unquote, when he's going through this. It's just so offensively
ironic,
incongruent.
hypocritical.
Projectionist.
Yeah.
It's classic projection. It's
Definitely.
classic, like, Pizzagate. And then all of a sudden we have Epstein. Like, it's just...
Oh yeah, that's right, Epstein. And all of this, we still have Epstein.
And all of this, after all that.
Oh, no. God.
They're not just racists, they're pedos. Okay.
The worst
It's like a
of
shitty
racists and rapists. Yeah, man.
cloud over
Although
us.
somebody brought up, and I'm not sure if what I think about this, but they said, are they really pedophiles? And I was like, yeah.
Yes.
If they're under 17, like
Absolutely.
if they're 16
what
or
would you
whatever.
call that? A preference of
Yeah.
teenage girls?
No.
No, it's a pedophile.
Right?
We actually had this conversation before, and I disagreed because technically there's another word for it.
Oh, what's the word?
Oh, for
Yeah.
like teens?
Yeah, I don't know
but
what the word
13
is.
included in that?
I don't know exactly. All I'm saying, I remember, I think it came up when like Roy Moore was the person in question or something, or I forget. Yeah, but
Can we agree it's equally
that's
bad though?
right.
At least, even
Yeah,
if it's
those were
categorized.
oh yeah, no, it's awful.
16-year-olds.
I mean,
Yeah.
I hesitate to even bring up the point because then people can be like, "Well, you're giving fuel to the fire that it's not the worst thing
I
ever."
don't even think
and
you
it's-
are.
and
I
it's like,
appreciate the point. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's important to know what things
criminally,
are
it's
called.
yeah, criminally it's different.
Morally, it's all the same.
Yeah.
And what was I going to say?
Yeah,
oh,
all about power and
something
it's
about
horrible and
racists
disgusting.
and rapists that I find is that they don't believe they are who they are. They often don't think they're a racist. They often don't think they're a rapist.
And they
here we
actually
have-
get really defensive if you call them either of those things.
Exactly. And here we have someone who's the president who is potentially, not even potentially, I'm just going to say it, he's both.
Maybe we need nicer snowflake words to
Just to like fall
to start
gently on them.
to start the conversation. Because I mean, the minute you say that what you just said is racist, you're gonna not be able to have a constructive conversation.
True. Which
If
is
you-
hard to begin with Trump.
And if you want to have, I mean, I guess you could be like, do you think you're general? I mean, I guess you could talk it soft for these snowflakes.
How
if
many
you wanted
accusations
to.
until you're called a racist or a rapist? Like, I think the thing is, like,
What is it?
Yeah,
and you
if-
want to ask them, racists and rapists. Like, if that isn't racist language, like these Trump supporters,
Right,
with
you have to
what
be
he
caught
said
in
is
the
not
act.
racist, what is?
And he has been caught in the act when you think about it. So the raping stuff is slightly different. Not that it's like not as bad, but it's just we weren't there. We only know what he said about it and what they've said
like,
about
do I
it.
specifically have to say I don't like black people because of the color of their skin in order
Right.
for me to be called a racist?
Do I have to see you beating up a black person to know that you're racist? No,
Because
not at all.
Well, that doesn't even count because then they could be like, "Oh, well, it was in self-defense." But
Yeah.
you have
Yeah,
to.
it's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
have to literally say the words.
Because
Apparently,
that's what happened with
in-
W. Kamau Bell. He does that, United Shades of America. He's down in the South talking to members of the KKK. Members of the KKK who are sitting there talking to him saying, well, you're really nice. And they actually say words like, I think most blacks are mongrels or animals or whatever. And then he asks them, like, when did you become so racist? And they literally say, I'm not racist. Well, then what is?
Yeah, it's like the
in
pedophile
your
in that
mind?
movie Spotlight who said, "Oh, I never enjoyed it," or Alan Dershowitz saying, "But I kept my underwear on." Like, there's always this
Like,
justification.
you just called me less than a human for being black. If that is not racist,
then what the fuck
what
is?
is? And I'm actually scared to know what your definition is.
I don't think
of
it
that.
ends. I think it's an infinity of racists and rapists out there. They will just go as far as they can, and that's how you end up with these people who are in power doing it. And you're
Yeah.
like, how did we get here?
Especially
That's so
considering he
true.
had a face-to-face interaction with someone that they generally put into a mongrel pool, and had a good interaction with them.
So,
you-
racists can be
so-
nice to people that they think
yeah,
should not.
and
be
you
with
think
them.
that
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
be like, hey, maybe take everything on a case-by-case basis, I guess,
Sure,
and not say general shit.
Because
Give
they
it a
are.
try.
They
Yeah.
are
Fucking-
actually taking it on a case by case basis. So why do you think that?
Yeah.
I mean, they're
Why-
not in
why
their words, but they
generalize-
are in real life.
Why
Right.
generalize? It's not even generalizing because the things they say are so horrible. I don't think they apply to like any human being.
To
but
regular generalization.
yes, exactly. But in your brain, you're generalizing whatever few maybe things that were even told to you. You didn't even experience them.
Yeah.
They were told to you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Ugh.
I know. And Epstein, this Thursday morning, I think he was denied bail. The judge shut him down, and we knew he would be denied
Right,
bail. I think he's going to be in jail for the rest of his life. So the judge basically said he was a huge flight risk, total threat to the community because he intimidated and tampered with witnesses. He has a fake passport. He skipped his sex offender check-ins, and he's got a ton of lewd material that they found in his safe, and diamonds, and $70,000 cash, and a private jet.
Like, if this
But that's it.
isn't the situation for like a textbook rapist with money and
Right,
privilege.
flight risk.
Yeah,
Like, he's not a flight risk.
he
Then
literally could fly away out of that courtroom.
literally what is. Yeah, he totally could just walk out and get on his little spaceman goodbye plane. That's precisely. Also, the judge in the Cohen case released the unredacted version of the 895-page warrant documents. And as we discuss later in the episode from Philly, the Southern District of New York was investigating the Trump organization's role in the hush money payments with Cohen and the Inquirer, but right after Barr was confirmed, the prosecutor overseeing the case, Robert Khuzami, stepped down with no explanation, and then the investigation just stopped. He was the deputy assistant USAO, I think, U.S. attorney, to Berman, who's recused himself from all these cases. So they maybe installed somebody more friendly. And this week, a federal judge confirmed there'd be no charges, as if to. And he seemed mad. Like, I feel like he was like, "There's no charges in this case," which I think is bullshit. So I'm releasing. The public needs to know what happened here. I'm taking all the redaction bars off of all the Cohen documents, and I'm releasing them. So we got a big trove of those. And then we got another set of them the next day. And there's a lot of stuff in there, including the confirmation that Stormy's lawyer, Keith Davidson, and Cohen were in cahoots. It was a racket, like we thought. And that Hope Hicks lied to Congress. She'll probably get off on a technicality because she said she wasn't present during conversations about Cohen and the hush money payments.
But they were in emails.
She was on the phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's like, when they were calling roll, I actually said here.
Yeah.
So
I didn't say present.
Yeah.
That's great.
Sorry.
Nah,
I'm being
totally.
sexist. I just immediately go into that voice.
It's just a character.
Immediately.
It's just a character. Like, what if you didn't do it? It wouldn't be sexist, I don't think.
Yeah.
It's a character. You got to have lady characters.
You do.
In response, she's just a terrible
It wasn't
human.
like an accent or something, like a racist thing.
True.
It's
If I was ever referencing something you said, though, Jaleesa, in another conversation, I would definitely not use that voice.
That's fair. That's
Same
fair.
Or you, or
Hey, email us.
pretty
Let
much
us know
any
how
other
you feel.
woman in my life.
What's your impersonations of us? We'd like to hear them. So anyway, she lied to Congress. And in response, Jerry Nadler has sent a letter to her inviting her to clarify her bullshit testimony. So we'll see how that goes. These documents indicate that Hicks, Trump, and Cohen, like I said, were all on the phone quite a bit when hashing out the payment details for Stormy and how to handle the Karen McDougal thing. But in her testimony, she told Congress she wasn't present. We also learned we were right when we thought Keith Davidson and Michael Cohen were in cahoots, like I said, because one of the guys from AMI, I think it was Dylan Howard from the Inquirer, introduced them saying, "Here, I have a business opportunity for the two of you." And so they were lawyers for opposing clients, but clearly working together. Then on Friday, we got another batch, like I said, of unsealed documents from the federal court in D.C., and they show that Mueller had already traced the path of all of the money by July 2017. He was appointed in May. So it only took him a month and a half to get the entire story. And that's to Stormy Daniels. And that's, from the home equity line of credit that Cohen took out to Essential Consultants, which he created that week, to Stormy Daniels' lawyer, and then eventually to Stormy Daniels. So he had that whole all that traced out. And while we were on stage, the House voted to hold Barr and Wilbur Ross, your buddy, in criminal contempt over the citizenship question. And we know that the Southern District of New York is litigating sanctions against the Department of Justice lawyers for accusations that they basically lied about the origins of the citizenship question, the oranges.
Yeah, this is our Hold Me in Contempt, like one of your French girl segment.
Yeah.
Or is that a little long of a title there?
Right. That's a good one, though. So the criminal contempt vote means a court can force Barr and Ross to testify. And if they don't, if they just deny the court order, which they might, then the court decides if they're going to be fined or jailed, not like Nancy Pelosi. So it's the court that gets to determine all that. So naturally, a criminal referral to the Department of Justice would be pointless since Barr runs it. Eric Holder is one of the only recent people to be found in criminal contempt by the Congress, Republican Congress.
Yeah.
But the attorney, the U.S. attorney wouldn't bring charges. And, I mean, that makes sense because the U.S. attorney works for Eric Holder.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
It's going to be the same situation with Barr.
So there's really no accountability once you reach that promotion.
Yeah.
You're like home free. That's why Michael Flynn sent that bald eagle flying away with the American flag in the text message, right? When Barr got confirmed. Yeah. He's like, we were home free, guys. We got him.
Totally. All right, guys, thank you so much. That's pretty much the bulk of the news that happened after we did the show in Philly. So I just wanted to update you all on that. The Daily Beans comes out tomorrow, so check that out. You can subscribe to the Daily Beans wherever you get your podcast. That'd be cool. Do you guys have any final thoughts before we get to the stage?
No, just stoked for the next show. Philly was amazing. I mean, like, it gets better every time. So Chicago is next.
Yeah. This Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
the 27th at Lincoln Hall. Tickets are going, so there's still some left, I think.
Yeah.
The last time I checked, there were some left. So
And thanks to everyone for all the gifts. I was wearing one of my Put Some Beans on It shirts today, and I'm wearing the News with Swears hat from David.
Yep, news of swearing. And then I
Yeah.
got, I've been eating my chocolate. So
Yeah.
The
And
Mueller chocolates.
we got doctorate degree, well, honorary doctorate.
yeah, we all got
degrees.
awarded honorary doctor.
Yeah. Shout out to
Really
David for
cool.
that as
So
well.
I'm a double doctor.
Yeah, double
A
D.
double dose of pimpness. All right, guys. We'll be right back in just a second with some more news from the stage at Philly with Andrew Torrez, right after this quick word. Hey guys, this is AG and I'm here to talk about Noom. Noom is a habit-changing app that helps you find your best health and well-being routine. They use a personalized approach to tailor plans just for you based on your goals, not society's. So they teach you why you do what you do, how to break old habits, and how to develop new ones by arming you with all the tools and knowledge you need to reach your goals. It's based on cognitive behavioral approach, which is a well-studied method for overcoming obstacles and thought patterns that can often derail us. So Noom is not a diet. It's not just about weight loss. It's about being healthy on your own terms and a logical way to develop the kind of healthy lifestyle that's best for you. There's no shaming, there's no judgment, just a great community of folks there to support you when you need it. And one of my biggest issues is time management, and that's why Noom works for me so well. It's only about 10 minutes a day. Everything I need is all in one place. I used to have multiple apps, one to track my steps, one to log my food, one to get my heart rate, one to track my exercise, one for nutrition info, but Noom puts it all in one place. I started using it, I guess, about 8 months ago, and my goal was to ditch my all-or-nothing approach to eating and exercise, because I would go super hard for 8 weeks and then give up for a while, and then have to get back into it, and I would lose weight and gain weight, which is bad for my heart, and it's bad for my stress, so I'd also feel shame when I'd break my own impossible rules. But with Noom, I lost about 15 pounds up front, and just through moderation and learning to enjoy life with treats and relaxation through their cognitive behavioral approach, I've been able to maintain it. So it's been really great. It's a huge load off my mind. And it's not just about how I look, it's about how I feel. I just don't stress about it anymore. So Noom is designed for results. It's out with the old habits and in with the new. Sign up for your trial today at Noom, Noom.com/AG. What do you have to lose? Visit Noom.com/AG to start your trial today. Again, that's Noom.com/AG. Start losing weight for good. Ladies and gentlemen, they and them, the Philly Podfest and the World Cafe Live in Philadelphia are proud to present Mueller, She Wrote Live. And now, please welcome the host of Mueller, She Wrote, AG. Hey guys, hi. Oh, it's full. Yes. Even if you just came in here for the air conditioning, I love you so much. It's nice and cold in here, and I appreciate that. Thank you. Let's hear it for a World Cafe Live. This is a great venue. Okay, funny, fucked up day today, guys. Usually we do live shows on Saturdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and we have a week's worth of news to pack into it. There's enough for like 3 shows. Just in the last couple days since we put out the show on Sunday. So I'm really, really glad you're here. I love this town. This is my first time in Philadelphia. So I have to figure out all the places I need to go. So if you hit me up on Twitter at Mueller She Wrote, tell me where I need to go, because I've got all day tomorrow and all day Friday. And then we have our special patron meet and greet tomorrow night, so that'll be fun too. What's up? Who's patrons? Who's my patron? That's what I got. Woo! Thank you guys. Because of you guys, we are able to offer health care to all of our staff and employees. Even the part-timers. So I think that's important. Because Trump said, we created 90 million jobs or whatever the fuck bullshit number he came up with. It's like, yeah, I got 3 of those jobs, thanks. That guy's a douche. Have you seen that video of him at the Epstein party that came out today? Dancing. Yeah, his eyebrows. Off fleek. I shouldn't brow shame. I understand. I feel like Trump's just open for whatever shame I want to give him, you know? Fuck that guy. And Epstein. Ugh. Yeah, I think there's a lot of cheerleaders there. The Buffalo Bills girls. I think he was trying to buy the Buffalo Bills, trying to get that loan situation happening. Yeah. Nope. Dick. The Buffalo Bills are like, we don't want to be bankrupted. Thanks, though. You can't keep a casino afloat. You can't keep a casino making money. That's just math. I don't even understand how you can fail a casino, sink a casino. Guys, I'm really excited to be here. But as you know, it's not just me on this podcast. I'm your host, AG. But with me, as always, are Jaleesa Johnson and Jordan Coburn. Running around, setting down beers.
Yes.
What's up? High five.
All right. How's it going?
Woo!
Nice.
We never do that.
That's
we
enough.
should.
Yeah. It's hot, guys, right? It's so hot. Me and my girlfriend were walking down the street just now, and we got interviewed by Fox News about how hot it was. Seriously.
Fox News, hitting the
tonight,
hard issues.
Right?
Wait, everyone needs to know while she was giving that interview, she was wearing a shirt that said fake news.
I was.
All over it.
They commented on that. Yeah, the guy was like, he literally said, you're wearing the right shirt. Like, how self-aware is that? It wasn't that Fox News, I guess, though, yeah, but local guys are cool.
News,
yeah. Yeah, no, I'm really stoked to be here. This is my first time in Philly, too. Yeah, hell yeah. I love places. I always think of Will Smith, like the Fresh Prince, but that was Bel Air, so then there's not much Philly.
It was a toss-up between Hall & Oates and the Fresh Prince of Bel Air.
Oh, Hall & Oates is from here too?
For
nice. That's pretty good for you guys. Hell yeah. That's dope.
Hall & Oates.
They stayed together through so much. That speaks to your city.
You guys, Hall & Oates. That's so great.
It's good people to be associated
Very
with in my
supportive.
book. They don't have any accusations though. None of the
they haven't been
Oates.
They're great.
Okay, good.
They're fantastic.
Nice.
Not
Sweet.
that I know of.
Awesome. You just gotta wonder these days. It's all good.
Like tomorrow, news at 6. Hall & Oates seen at Epstein party.
I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to say I'm psychic, but you know. But this is great. I have good vibes, despite the weather. Good vibes about the people. You guys are amazing. Thank you for being here. And I guess we're gonna get this thing started, right? We got more.
Sure can.
Yeah.
All right.
And now we're gonna go on script here.
Oh yeah, it's very.
We can't thank you enough, Philadelphia, city of brotherly love.
Aww.
Home of Benjamin Franklin, a guiding light for the revolution, site of the First and Second Continental Congress, the birthplace of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. Cool documents. It's all right. Anyway, we're super glad that you're with us tonight. But now, we would also like to welcome our third panelist. Please welcome co-host of the Opening Arguments podcast, real-life lawyer, Andrew Torrez. Well, first thing we do every show, it's time to kick off with my favorite news segment, Corrections. Yeah, all right. So, according to some emails we received regarding our question about whether witness tampering charges require an underlying proceeding, it appears there does not need to be a case underway. Andrew, we were discussing this in light of the bail response in the Epstein case. I call him Epstein. I don't care what you call him. In fact, I hope it's wrong, because Steve, you know. So we're talking about that, where the prosecution alleged he made $350,000 in payments to 2 co-conspirators named in the non-prosecution agreement. And we're wondering if he could be charged with witness tampering or obstruction of justice since he had not yet been indicted when he made those payments. And so somebody emailed us and said, no, that you can totally charge someone with witness tampering in that case. Why was he not charged with that?
Privilege.
Oh,
sorry, I didn't press the buzzer.
Because those cases are never brought, right? I mean, it's true, but yeah, that those cases are never brought.
Why not? Because they don't want to waste the time of starting it if it's not gonna if it doesn't turn into a whole.
So if I'm gonna steel man the other side of the justice system, which that's a tough role for me to be in, but if you're gonna do that, it's because you don't want witnesses to be thinking while they're on the stand, am I gonna be subject to criminal prosecution, right? And so the entire process is super deferential to, right? It's meant to protect people who are scared.
Well, I don't want the people who he paid to be charged. I want him.
Right, that'd be weird.
To be charged.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
That kind of reminds me about how people that are testifying in front of Congress don't wind up getting charged with perjury, right? Because they want a formal referral to be had for that to happen because they don't want people to be scared to misspeak But misspeaking versus paying $350,000 to not talk about your creepy child sex behavior.
I'm pretty sure everyone's that's Epstein. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, because our founding fathers were super, noble-minded, and they're what if a person is afraid of X, Y? They weren't thinking what if a person is a billionaire with a private island who's going to, it just didn't occur to them, and now we're in the darkest possible timeline, and things are fucked beyond belief. So there you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Cheers to that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Guys, I have some good news. That was our only correction this week. Woo!
Woo! And it was me, not them.
Congrats, team.
That's gonna be a record, right?
It is. That's a record. One mistake.
Yeah.
And I've thought maybe I'd start planting innocuous errors into the podcast to generate more corrections, but that's fake news, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
That's also very confident on our part.
Well, let's see if they
we'll
get
throw in
this
fake ones because we're so smart.
But, and I do like to get more corrections because I frankly like the compliment sandwiches that you guys send me. We get 2 compliments for every correction based on the forum we created online, so it's nice. But remember, if you have any corrections for us, head to MullerSheWrote.com, click Contact, and then select Corrections. Our slogan is, we'll get it right eventually. And with that out of the way, guys, it's time for the Mueller news, which we have turned into a quiz for live show purposes. Are you guys ready to play Just the Facts?
Yes.
No, not at all.
All right, so we're going to turn this into a quiz for our panelists, along with open discussions about these facts, or conjecture, if you will. And, we like to differentiate between the two. We used to have a thing where if you got a question wrong, I'd make you wear a MAGA hat. Right, and it used to be funny, but now it's like putting a KKK hood on somebody. That thing has become a symbol of hate and terrible racism, misogyny, rapist, fuck shit. So I can't do it anymore in good conscience. It's actually become that to me. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys. So, no MAGA shaming. I mean, shaming you guys with MAGA hats. We will shame MAGA all day. All right, Jaleesa, this one's for you.
Mm-hmm.
This week, Amy Berman, Judge Jackson, if you're nasty,
Oh, yeah.
found that Roger Stone most definitely violated his gag order by posting on social media yet again about his trial. What was his punishment for that?
She basically grounded him like the naughty boy he is.
Yes. That is correct. Roger Stone is grounded. Judge Jackson modified his gag order to say Roger Stone is prohibited from making public statements about his case, the Mueller probe, or any participants in the Mueller investigation or his case using Radio broadcasts, interviews on television, on the radio, with print reporters, internet-based media, press releases and press conferences, blogs or letters to the editor, and posts on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or any other form of social media. Furthermore, he cannot have statements made publicly on his behalf by surrogates, family members, spokespersons, representatives, or volunteers. Not 2 fucking hours later. 2 hours. That is 0.0007 Scaramucci's. 2 hours after Judge Jackson expanded the gag order, Roger Stone's wife posted a photo of the two of them after the hearing with the caption, "Me and my husband, Roger Stone, after his hearing today, hashtag Roger Stone did nothing wrong, StoneDefenseFund.com, hashtag Kaga, hashtag Trump."
Wait, what was that second to last one?
Kaga, keep America great again.
Oh, okay, that's like Kaka, like.
That's a really poor branding choice to just switch it. They spent so long investing
Well,
in
they made it great. It's great now.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
great. It would kind of be counterproductive to run again saying "Make America Great" because everyone would be like, "You're right. It still fucking sucks because of you." Yeah. And it was great before, and you wrecked it. And now they're like, "Okay, keep America great." You're like, get
Is
the
that
fuck
grammatically correct? Keep America great again?
Again.
It's the again.
We kept it great the first time, then we stopped, and then we started again.
That's true. None of their base is asking these questions.
These are the questions they need to ask.
They're not thinking about the grammatical problems with their slogan.
That is my favorite point I think you've ever made. Besides the 2 Russians getting arrested and the creating refugee status crises to help combat them yourself, lighting fires, putting out, keep America great again.
Also, I think he's saying it before Trump has even said it, too, which is quite an undersweep.
No, he's low-key selling Kaga hats now for 2020.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
oh, good. I feel like they need a kangaroo as their mascot. Right? Kaga,
so after all that, so his wife...
I'll email them. I'll get money for it. Okay.
So his wife posts this 2 hours later, 0.007 Scaramucci's later, which just leaves me wondering, somebody married Roger Stone?
That should be a hashtag.
So...
All right.
Yeah. Well, he was a swinger back in the day. I think swingers like swingers. Like that could be a thing.
Maybe in order to wife swap, you have to have a wife. So he went out and found one. No judgment. Hey, I'm all for that shit. That's cool. Whatever you like to do, as long as you're not Roger Stone. Hey guys, this is AG. We hope you're enjoying Andrew Torrez and Mueller, She Wrote live in Philly. We'll return with the incomparable Asha Rangappa after this quick word. Hey guys, this is AG, and I'm happy to announce that the Neighborhood Watch is back, and it's way more convenient than it used to be. Remember neighbors meeting up at someone's house on a Thursday, talking about things going on in the hood, keeping each other safe, looking out for each other? Well, now that Neighborhood Watch is an app on your phone, and the app is called Neighbors, and it's by Ring. That's the company behind those doorbells and security cameras with the video where you can see people come up to your door. And with the Neighbors app, you receive real-time safety alerts from your neighbors. It helps you stay informed about what's going on in your neighborhood, and it's totally free. You don't even need to own a Ring device. So I downloaded the free app. I was able to set my neighborhood area using the really easy map filter, and so far it's been great. I've gotten to know my neighbors. We've been able to recover lost pets and missing packages. I remember one guy lost his dog and was going around door to door, and somebody saw the dog on their Ring camera, and they put the alert on the thing, and he got his dog. It was cool. So, and then also we get to know if there's any safety alerts nearby, so that's really nice, or any like traffic closures or whatever's weird going on. So it's really about neighbors helping neighbors, and I really think it's great. The app is making it easier for neighbors to work together, keeping the community safe. There's millions of people using it already. So if you want to help make sure you and your neighborhood are safe, download the free Neighbors app today, totally free. Go to ring.com/AG to download from iOS or Android app stores. That's ring.com/AG. Make your neighborhood safer today with the Neighbors app by Ring. You'll be glad you did. Jordan. The judge in the Michael Flynn case this week had responded to Flynn's attorney's complaint that his old attorneys have not yet handed over all the files. What is the judge's name in Flynn's D.C. trial, and what is the name of his new crazy lawyer?
Okay, the judge is Ed Sullivan. Is it not Ed Sullivan?
No.
Oh, the Ed Sullivan show
It's
is
a different Sullivan?
Wait.
And for you now, right here in our
Wait,
courtroom.
what's his first name?
You know what? Judge Sullivan works.
Okay.
No. I can be wrong. I just want to know what's right.
But what,
Put that on a shirt. Okay, sorry. Okay.
I think Ed
Just
Sullivan
kidding.
is
I'm an
something,
idiot.
right?
But what is the real one?
Oh.
It's Emmett Sullivan.
Oh. I didn't.
Yeah.
That
Just
sounds
like
like a
the
judge's
otter.
name, doesn't it? Right?
Yeah. Okay. Well, sorry. Sullivan and Sidney Powell.
Yes.
Yes.
Sullivan, Emmett T, and Sidney Powell. It's not Emmett T, it's just Emmett. Emmett T. Flood is who I'm thinking of.
Right.
Yeah.
Cute. Yeah, and Sidney Powell, she's special. So this was a pretty creative order Judge Sullivan made in the Flynn case. He says, in light of the representations made by defense counsel regarding the delay in receiving the client's files, the court hereby gives notice and orders to the parties that the court's intent to invite a senior legal ethics counsel for the District of Columbia Bar Association to attend the status conference and explain on the record to Flynn's lawyers the applicable rules for professional court conduct. Mr. Flynn's former counsel shall attend the status conference.
Can I jump in here on this one? So, Michael Flynn's former counsel are two people. I would not describe them as friends of mine, but I would describe them as assholes that I have worked for before. At the law firm of Covington and Burling. Any Covington lawyers in the audience? Oh, thank God. So good. I can keep going, right? Rob Kellner, who was my class, whom I have seen vomit into a trash can before. True story. And Steve Anthony, who gave me a negative performance review when I was a young associate. Those are Michael Flynn's lawyers. And notwithstanding the garbage introduction that I just gave, they're really fucking good lawyers. Look, they're super smart. They're at Covington and Burling, which has 98 billion lawyers. Like, it's a great firm. They're smart lawyers, everything else. And when Michael Flynn fired them, that's not, right? Like, when when you're like, hey, to your office, like, why don't we delete this, like, Microsoft Word on our computers and replace it with Ugasoft letters? Like, people should be curious about that, right?
So he's the Zune MP3 player.
Yes,
Sidney Powell.
He is exactly right.
Okay.
I just want to point out, I have no idea if this is still the case, but as of 8 years ago, when he died, that person who was a really, really good friend of mine, the senior ethics counsel for the District of Columbia, was a Covington and Burling partner. So I just thought you'd like to know that, right?
Yeah,
so
fun
there
fact.
you go.
I just think it's so funny that Sullivan's like, all right, your lawyers have to come in. We're having an ethics guy come in to give you a fucking lesson on professionalism.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And they're going to come in and be like, hey, Rob, how's it going?
Yeah.
You finished off that memo yet? No? All right. Have it on my desk on Monday. Cool.
Like, hey, didn't you give me a bad performance review one time? I didn't like that guy.
Can I ask a quick question to Andrew? What is the threshold for an ethical violation for an attorney that's peddling conspiracy theories and crazy things? Because how do they sort that out? What is okay and what's
are
not
you allowed
okay?
to be a lawyer and have a website called Creeps on a Mission about the Mueller investigation?
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna reveal more secrets. Who all is a lawyer in the audience tonight? Put your hand up. It's like 3.
The guy in the suit.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
More confidence, guys. You're lawyers. Come on.
Right. So to you 4 people, I just want you to know, snitches get stitches. Okay. Keep it on the DL. To everybody else.
So are lawyers like magicians,
Yeah,
where if you give away your secrets, somebody
Here's-
comes at you in the night and takes your thumbs away or something?
We'll talk.
Because you pay, Sorry, go ahead.
So here's the thing. And these 4, these are the only 4 people. Like 4 people are about to laugh, and 196 people are about to cry. the way in which you get disbarred as a lawyer is by commingling your client's funds, right? Like, that's the only fucking thing you have to
Avenatti.
do.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You can lie. You can, like, own a website that's like Donald Trump did nothing wrong.com. Like, you can do anything you want, and there's all sorts of, like, there's 13 layers of disciplinary bullshit, but if you don't steal your client's retainer, like, you're probably not going to get disbarred.
Great
and
news.
That sucks
Although
about us.
Manafort was
Yeah,
disbarred, so that's nice.
no, right. Or alternatively,
in jail.
if you sell our government out to the Russians. I didn't think we had to say that.
Yet
but
somehow you only
apparently
get
we
7.5
do.
years.
There we go.
Okay, cool. Andrew Torrez, question for you. We finally got proposed language for a permanent injunction regarding the citizenship question today. Both cases, permanent language, no citizenship question on the census.
Wait. Let's get a woo from the audience on that.
Pause for reaction. I have it written here. I'm surprised.
Oh, that's great.
So your question, I know, right? Sorry. So where were these two cases being litigated?
So those two cases were being litigated in the Southern District of New York and the, woo, SDNY represent, woo, and the District of Maryland.
Yes,
Northern
congratulations. And additionally today, the Southern District of New York, in that case, the plaintiffs have formally filed their motions for sanctions against the government, accusing the government officials of hiding facts and presenting false or misleading information about the genesis of the citizenship question. So that's fucking good news.
That's true, by the way.
And that's one of the reasons the judges were like, you can't just swap your lawyers out. These guys there's still litigation pending. There's still sanctions under review, or we're about to file them. They did file them. And so in light of the Hofeller documents, I'm a huge man with two brains fan, but not a huge fan of racist gerrymandering. So I call him Hofeller.
Wait, what's the man with two brains thing?
Oh. Okay, so there's no Steve
the
Martin
age
movie.
division on this panel just became clear.
So no
Abby Normal. Everyone who's laughing at Abby Normal, put your hands up. There you go. Yeah, that's it. I'm old. I'm sorry.
Okay, it's
Thank
a
you.
reference. I can Google it, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll bing it.
Better yet, watch it. Watch The Man with Two Brains. Steve Martin, he's got a brain in a jar. Steve Martin's name is Dr. Huffer. And her name is Imelda Hay.
I just thought you were saying that weird for fun.
Yes, I invented it.
Here's the thing. Lawyers working for the DOJ right now are not going to be working for the DOJ 5 years from now. And that's not like a political thing. That's just this is part of the stepping stones in you getting a big partner law firm job somewhere else.
Look, I'll be serious here. My experience being in the FBI and as a part of the Department of Justice is that I think that in general it's very hard to pull off some kind of deep state, behind the scenes kind of thing. It's a very rigid, bureaucratic environment where every decision you make has to be documented and justified and going up the chain. And especially because this is the Southern District of New York, which is kind of known within the Justice Department as the sovereign district, okay? The Southern District of New York tends to have a lot of independence, does its own thing. I was in the New York FBI office, also at the time when I was there, was known for kind of running its own investigations. Having said that, Barr is the Attorney General, and if he can find a justification to decide that the investigation ought to be closed and there is, some kind of basis, I think he could do that. And here what you have is a Department of Justice policy against indicting a sitting president, okay? The charges and indictment against Michael Cohen made it very clear that he committed a felony at the direction. That is a reason that you cannot just keep the investigation open. Then that this one brought in was Junior, as we know, and misdemeanors. contrast that with the language that's written for the pardon power. He can pardon crimes against the United States. They specifically did not say, he can be impeached only for crimes against the United States. That means that they imagined a broader class of actions and conduct that can be impeachable. When I was in the FBI, they train you in how to do background investigations. And there's a mnemonic that you were supposed to use when you conducted background checks. And that mnemonic is Carla F. Bad. I know that AG knows this because I tweet it periodically to remind people. And Carla F. Bad stands for character, associates, reputation, loyalty, ability, bias, finances, alcohol, and drugs. It's to help you remember to cover all of those things when you're talking to somebody. And if you go through that, I'll repeat that again. Character, associates, reputation, loyalty, ability, bias, alcohol, finances.
I was wondering what the F is.
Yeah, sorry, finances.
I thought it was just fuck and you weren't saying it.
Finances, bias, alcohol, and drugs. I mean, arguably, only alcohol and drugs are like the two things that he may not completely fail on.
I don't even know what you're talking about right now.
But that's the standard for trustworthiness. That is what every other person who is in a position of trust, who gets access to classified information, they have to be able to pass all of those standards, whether they have committed a crime or not, before they can get a job. And hundreds of thousands of people get turned down for jobs because they can't be trusted with a security clearance. This guy got this job. He did not go through a background check. And I think Carla F. Bad, not Title 18 of the U.S. Code, should be the standard.
Oh. I like that, too. And maybe that's one of the lessons we take forward with us in this. Hey, guys, we hope you're enjoying the show live from Philly. We'll be right back with the conclusion. Thanks to Crest for supporting Mueller, She Wrote. The Crest 3D Whitening Kit is the perfect way to whiten your teeth to make the most of your smile. As I'm sure you guys know, all of the food and drinks that we have over the years takes a toll on how our teeth look, and by proxy, takes a toll on how we look, and it can affect your confidence. But Crest White Strips are the most effective way to whiten your smile by removing 10 years of tough set-in stains from coffee, wine, smoking, whatever you're doing to your teeth. And it's the #1 dentist-recommended whitening system. It's extremely convenient, which you know is important to me because we're always traveling, and I'm an efficiency enthusiast. And there's no messy gels or trays, which can be gross. So this is just applied in the comfort of your own home. No slip grip for white strips that allow you to drink water during treatment if you want. It even includes an LED blue light to help target stains, so the ingredients work faster and better than just the white strips alone. It's the same LED light technology that's used by dentists. And it's guaranteed to deliver 100% noticeably whiter teeth. If you're not satisfied, you can get your money back. So I make a lot of public appearances, and my smile is really important to me, but I've also spent my life drinking coffee, and I do enjoy wine, and I end up with stains on my teeth, and that can impact my confidence. But this new system with the LED light targeted those stains. My teeth are at least 2 shades whiter after one use. So order your first Crest 3D Whitening Strip Kit with patented blue LED light online today and receive a special offer of $20 off. So go to crestwhitesmile.com and enter promo code AG. Free shipping included. That's $20 off your first Crest 3D Whitening Strip Kit when you go to crestwhitesmile.com and use the promo code AG at checkout. You'll be glad you did. One more question for you, Asha. With you mentioned, your counterintelligence background. According to Schiff, they haven't been briefed on counterintelligence stuff from the Mueller investigation ever, and since Comey was there. So what do you do when you can't? You're the FBI and you're in the counterintelligence, and you can't brief the Gang of 8 because Nunes and Barr are in there, or why haven't? I mean, I guess I can kind of guess why they haven't got a briefing, but my big existential fear is if you've got counterintelligence information that the president is an asset of a foreign government and everyone surrounding him is, or a lot of people surrounding him are, who do you tell if Bill Barr is the AG and half of your Gang of 8 are turncoats, and that's a Philadelphia term, and who do you tell? I'm an atheist, so you can't God, you can't tell God. But you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Legally, could you brief
this is-
Pelosi or could you brief Schiff or something without seeming political?
So, okay. The counterintelligence side of the FBI is very different than the criminal side. Just as a broad matter, one of the things that drives me crazy is when they'll point to somebody who might have been implicated in Russia contacts and they'll say, well, he was never charged. And, in the counterintelligence side, very few cases see the inside of a courtroom because the purpose is not to gather evidence of criminal activity. The purpose is to assess whether the person is a threat to national security. When it comes to counterintelligence, the FBI's job is to identify, monitor, and neutralize foreign intelligence activity. Okay?
All right.
And
so how do we neutralize Trump? I know that's a jump. I'm sorry.
So what does this mean? So when, foreign intelligence services, spies from other countries are operating here, the FBI watches them, they figure out what they're doing. Neutralization can take a number of different forms. So one could be you just monitor them. Once you're onto them, it's in your interest to not let them know what you know. You just keep getting information, they're burned, they don't know it. So do you guys remember the 10 Russians that were posing as Americans that were living in New York? Okay, so the FBI was monitoring them for 10 years. This is like the goose that laid the golden eggs. They were just getting all of their information, figuring out what they were doing. This is a great boon to our intelligence activities. Another thing you can do is you can, if there's somebody who has access to classified information, you can feed them disinformation. So Robert Hansen is a good example of this. Once they thought that Robert Hansen might be spying for first the Soviet Union and Russia, what the FBI did is internally they gave him a promotion and they kind of moved him to a place where he didn't have access to sensitive information, but they were still kind of giving him like crap that he was just feeding back. So that neutralizes it because then your adversary is not getting real information. A final thing you can do is that you can kick them out of the country. So most spies here are acting under diplomatic cover. They're here as the cultural attaché from, wherever. And that's why the counterintelligence offices are primarily in New York and Washington, D.C. and San Francisco. This is called declaring them persona non grata. It's a verb in the intel community. You PNG somebody. You just kick them out. This is a diplomatic move. It's very embarrassing to that country. So here an example is that in December of 2016, because of the Russia's...
I love this part.
Russia's election interference, President Obama kicked out, PNG'd 35 Russian spies. Now, just so you know, I've been involved in one PNG, and it was a shit show, because basically you have the FBI, the CIA, and the State Department all fighting. Okay? The FBI wants to kick the person out. It's very rare. You only do this when they're like really up to no good, okay? And this is because the State Department hates PNGing people. It's incredibly disruptive to their diplomatic efforts. It's highly embarrassing to the country. It causes all kinds of rifts. And the CIA hates it because when we PNG somebody, the other country does a tit for tat, which means they typically will kick out one spy for everybody that we spy. So you typically see like one or two, maybe, very rarely. Obama kicked out 35. Whew. So...
And the FBI is saying to the CIA and the State Department, like, just trust us.
Yeah.
Like,
so and just as a small little segue, because I think that this was lost at the time, this is why it was so terrible that Michael Flynn was having these secret conversations to Russia to not retaliate. Because there's so much chess playing that goes into doing that I have no doubt that the Obama administration said, we are going to take this huge step of kicking out 35 people. They've calculated that Russia is going to retaliate by doing X, Y, Z. What the Trump administration did is they secretly said, don't do anything, we'll fix everything, we're going to lift sanctions or whatever they said. Then that didn't happen. By 2017, when whatever Putin was promised didn't come through, he kicked out 775 of our diplomatic personnel from Russia. completely obliterated our diplomatic capacity as well as our intelligence capacity there. So that's why that was so destructive. But going back to your question about the president, when the call is coming from inside the White House, you cannot neutralize the threat, okay? All of these things that I just mentioned, you can't do. Let's say you continue to monitor them. The purpose of monitoring them is to gather intelligence. Who is the ultimate consumer of intelligence? The President of the United States. Okay, so then you're monitoring somebody that, like, how do you do that? If the target that you're monitoring has access to the classified information and it's the president, you cannot cut off his access to the classified information. He is entitled as the President of the United States to see it. And finally, I am sad to report, we cannot kick out the President of the United States and send him back where he came from. So, so the FBI is in this very difficult situation. If they opened a counterintelligence investigation on the President of the United States, this should have been news for months, okay? This is huge. What has happened with that? How did they resolve it? Does he continue to be a national security threat? And if they aren't reporting to the Gang of Eight, which they are required to do at least twice a year, it's because they have discovered in my opinion, they've discovered some information that is so sensitive, or they're getting information from sources that are so sensitive, and they cannot trust the people on that committee to keep that information
And you can't
classified.
just give it to half the committee because then you seem political.
What's that?
How do you, if you have this information, it's really important, can you just give it to the good half?
No, I believe you have to give it to the chair and the ranking member.
Yeah.
It's worth noting, though, that when the counterintelligence investigation against the president was opened, they were notified. Mm-hmm. So all of this deep state stuff, they were notified as they were required by law when it's a U.S. person, and especially they would have done this anyway because it's the President of the United States. The FBI notified this committee. So all of this, this happened under Obama. They were trying to throw, this May of 2017, after he won the election, the President of the United States became the subject of a counterintelligence investigation. Everybody, including Devin Nunes, was notified.
Even Devin was like, I don't think I should be in here right now.
So it's a big problem.
Yeah, and I think Maddow asked Andrew McCabe, what do you do? And he's like, we've never been in this situation, literally never been in this situation before, and I'm no longer the acting director of the FBI. Peace! No, he didn't say that, but it left me with the same freaked out feeling, we've never been here, what do we do? And I guess it's just...
It's especially difficult because the President of the United States has awesome powers, particularly when it comes to national security and foreign affairs. He has almost unfettered power. So he decides how we decide to deal with another country, okay? If he doesn't want to take action against Russia or Putin, all of the intelligence agencies take direction from him. They cannot. If you think the CIA or the NSA or DIA are doing things kind of on their own, they're not. They cannot legally. I mean, if they are, it's actually also troubling, right? Because you don't want to have rogue intelligence agencies. We had those in the 60s and 70s. It did not turn out so well on a number of fronts. So. We're in a really bad situation in terms of our vulnerability, and I think that it is entirely possible that the president is an unwitting asset. I actually think he cannot possibly be a witting asset because he would make a terrible spy. He just I've run, assets, and he doesn't take. He wouldn't take taskings. He'd brag about it. He'd be like, "Oh, Putin thinks I'm great," right? As a spy.
No,
and he
right?
would say that.
Manafort was good, right? He was a good tasker. He was a good tasking.
Who was this?
Manafort. He was a good asset.
No, he would have been good.
Page. I don't think he had enough shit worth having to be an asset, but they tried
He's
3 times.
He would have been a fellow traveler, Asian of influence that they would have used, but yeah. And then Trump would just be a useful idiot, I think.
he would have Israel in the Oval Office be like, you won't believe what I'm doing for Russia. They have me hooked up pretty good. And you're like...
It'd be a great movie, though, I gotta say, yeah.
The ignorant asset.
Definitely. And I was thinking, when you're always saying, like, who are we going to go to? Like, you can't go to the Gang of Eight. Like, who are you going to call? I think Ghostbusters every time. Yeah. Right? The female Ghostbusters will save democracy.
FBI, tell Bill Murray. That's who you need to tell. Just tell Bill Murray, and he and I will have a meeting, and we'll figure out what to do. Well, I don't feel any better. Thank you for that. Now, I have time for 3 questions, and I have about 2 minutes apiece. So who's the first question for the panel? Pop on up here. Sir, jump on up. And if you want to get in line behind him so that you have you're in line, then you will be good to go. I like your shirt.
Oh. Thank you. All right. Justice Stevens issued an opinion where he found that the suit against Bill Clinton, apology suit, could move forward. Now, Bill Clinton was actually president at the time. So
I remember.
It would seem that would establish, set the law that a suit could move against a sitting president. Now,
civil suit.
A civil suit.
In federal court.
Yeah, that was a federal civil suit. And
Okay.
so the OLC opinion is based on the idea that a criminal charge against the president, that in order for him to mount a defense, to be able to, particularly their speedy trial requirements and all of that, would take away so much of the focus from his presidential duties as to impair his ability to perform those functions. This is not, by the way, a settled legal question, right?
Okay.
Like, this is an opinion by the Office of Legal Counsel within the Department of Justice. Now, query whether the idea that it would take too much time from the president's duties applies to a president who has spent a third of his time golfing.
I could take that to court on my own. But were you going to ask about why we can't indict a sitting president?
Exactly. I mean,
yeah.
And that's a good distinction.
But we can't sue a president because, as you know, the Congressional Democrats' emoluments lawsuit has been able to go forward, which is not a criminal federal case. It is a civil lawsuit brought against the president for violating the emoluments clause. That's been allowed to go forward. And a lot of the precedent that they use is that, Clinton v. Jones?
Yeah.
That you can sue. You might not be able to handle a federal criminal investigation because you're so busy with your president shit, but you can certainly handle a civil suit. He's only handled 5,800 in his life. I think he can take another one.
The other issue with the distinction between the civil and criminal is that you then create another kind of constitutional issue if you get to the sentencing phase, like the punishment phase, right? Like, let's say you were to go through with a criminal indictment and go through a trial and he's convicted. The Constitution only allows for removal of the president through the process of impeachment. There is no other constitutional way. So then what do? Like, you cannot, marshals cannot come in and arrest him and put him in jail until he is impeached and removed. So you end up in these, very difficult situations. There's also the philosophical idea of whether the head of the executive branch, whether his own Justice Department can then prosecute him, because it's like effectively they are an extension of him. They would then be prosecuting themselves. And so I think they just avoid all of that. Now, there is a lot of scholarly debate, and there are many scholars who believe that you could bifurcate this, meaning that you should be able to indict the president, even if you are to try him after he leaves office, or alternatively, and to indict him and allow the statute of limitations, if there is one, to toll, which means that the president...
Freeze
you
it.
freeze it, because otherwise what you effectively have is a president who, if let's say Trump was elected again, then he gets to just ride out the statute of limitations, which would not be fair.
Unless he keeps criming. But yeah, and so I think you may bring up a great point, because if he is indicted by Tish James in the not Southern District, in the New York State Attorney General office, what do you do if he's found guilty? You just hand it over to Congress because they're the only ones who can do anything about it anyway. It's just like Mueller when he tossed the mic to Papadop. No, when he tossed the mic to Congress, like, can't do anything. Here's all the shit, and you go. And I think that's where we end up. Although, because Mueller obviously chose not to indict, or he couldn't indict because of the OLC memo.
Can I jump in for 1 second?
You have literally 9 seconds.
Nope. I'll defer. Find me in the bar, and I'll answer. I have like 87 things to say, but I don't want to take away from Asha. So.
Yeah, I want to hear your thoughts too.
We actually need to get off stage like now, but I want to get these other 2 questions in. So.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, sir.
Nice shirt.
Hey, thank you.
Woo!
So I actually have a couple questions, but I'll only ask one. And I've been wanting him impeached since January 21st, 2017. And because I knew what we were in for the minute I saw that he won when he showed up at the RNC with his Russian friends. Now, I've been trying to be patient with the subpoena fights in court and everything. What teeth would an impeachment inquiry have as opposed to what we're waiting for now? Because the way Barr just flipped everything, it's really alarming. And what will it do for us if we ask for this impeachment inquiry now?
And it's really sort of an unknown. I think it's kind of just because it hasn't happened so often, it's more theoretical than not. But with an impeachment inquiry in place, you have an official judicial process or a judicial thing happening. I think what I've heard is it effectively turns the House of Representatives into a grand jury, which means when you go to court and file these suits, I think it's just expedited and considered far more serious than it is if you're just subpoenaing Kellyanne and she doesn't show up,
right.
and then you file a thing, and then it goes here. So I think the teeth of an impeachment inquiry.
Yeah, what it does is it does strengthen the grounds for the House to obtain the information that it needs. Right now, you have a bunch of different committees that are trying to get the tax returns and get such and such witness. And what they are relying on is an implicit power in the Constitution of congressional oversight and investigation. That is not stated anywhere, but it's implied, it's understood that they have this power because they need that information to pass their legislation. If they were to invoke their impeachment authority, which is explicitly stated, and they have sole authority, then they are effectively, as AG said, they're an investigatory body that is there to gather evidence, and they have much more urgency and explicit grounds on which to compel these people to provide the documents, the witnesses that they need. And it would all be centralized out of the Judiciary Committee.
Yep. Yeah, and that's the other thing, too, is that when they're talking about, they're like, well, we'd have to move everything to the Judiciary Committee, and then this and that, and everyone's like, but I want to keep, stuff like Intel Schiff, he's like, I want to keep my shit, it's good shit, and you're like, no, come on, just fucking do it. It's all like sort of, and then you probably get like when the FBI, CIA, and everyone's arguing, State Department are arguing about expelling these guys, you would probably have that going on among the different committees, like, I want my thing, I want my thing, I want my thing, so anyway, that's where we are.
And one more huge thing on that, which is impeachment means the charges have been brought and a trial will take place, right? That trial takes place in the Senate. The House of Representatives is designated to appoint managers who are prosecutors who bring the case. And this will be carried live even on Fox News, right? And that's the real point. Like, you look right now, and we have a fucking propaganda arm that has said, the Mueller report is a total exoneration because we don't read. Having witness after witness testify only as to what is in the Mueller report, right? And God knows there's shit that's not in the Mueller report, but having witness after witness testify in front of middle America, like, yes, the president told me to call Sergei Kislyak. No, I didn't call him because that was stupid fucking shit. By the way, that's a transcript from the Mueller report, right? Like, it says, I don't know. It says stupid fucking shit only, and like, having that in front of the American people is such a huge difference
and then also,
with, like, your goddamn Aunt Kathy.
And the variable that I feel like Nancy Pelosi is not taking into account is that Trump would spontaneously combust.
Oh, my God.
Okay? I'm telling you, I am 99% sure that he would have a Colonel Jessup moment at some point. You start the impeachment inquiry, and he'd be like, "Damn right, I ordered the code red," and he'll do it. He'll do it like on the front lawn, like randomly in a press conference, and people will be like, "What just happened?"
Who is the senator that thought Colonel Jessup was real and retweeted it?
Steve King.
Steve King.
Oh my God.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. And final question, and then we'll wrap up. I swear to God, I'm sorry we're going over time. I just want to make sure I get this last question in.
Hi, welcome to Philadelphia. I'm so
Thank
happy
you
guys are here. Why didn't anybody go after Turtle Dick Mitch and his wife for all of their financial fraud related to her position in the government?
I personally think, and this isn't to belittle all that crazy financial fraud, but there's literally, and I think that this is on purpose, a fire hose of shit that is being sprayed at us on a daily basis. And to prioritize that anywhere, it would probably have to be number 864, even though it's so vital and so important. There are things so far down on the list that are in any other administration would be number one. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I think that that's what the problem is in this particular case. Personally, I don't honestly know why the public acts the way it acts, and other than unless it's just a disinformation.
It's just
campaign.
information overload. I mean, it's just another part of, I think, the reality that we're living in, and a way that, yeah, it's kind of a form of information warfare too. That is a part of our landscape now. It's just that we cannot keep track of everything. We cannot keep track of all the wrongdoing, and frankly, you guys showed up here. A good chunk of America has just checked out.
Yeah.
They're just like, I can't deal with it. Everybody's corrupt. I give up. And that is really the worst outcome.
Yeah. And every day I see somebody saying, don't talk about that, you're distracting from that. Don't talk about that, you're distracting from that. Like, the president tweeted that 4 women of color should go back to where they came from. And that's a distraction from something worse, that he rapes children probably. So it's like, so when people come at me like, that's a distraction, you should know better, be better. I'm like, how is it a fucking distraction that he said these things publicly? That should be news. And so somebody might look to you and say, that whole child Turtle Dick Mitch thing is a distraction. And you're like, that in any other administration would be a massive scandal.
Who would go after it?
But it's not a tan suit. So it couldn't possibly. But I really honestly think that that's it, is that people think everything's a distraction and there's just so much coming at us at once.
Right, but like, even if we wanted to address it, since we're talking about it now, we might as well. Like, who would be in charge of going after or I guess it's like a financial scam, you said? Like, what? Like, yeah.
So I think that's a part, like, there are so many different layers. Like, first you have the OIG of, you have an internal organization, the internal oversight that goes through it. Then if there's something that is criminal, then that might get referred. Then there's a criminal investigation if it gets to that stage. Then once they get the evidence, is it something that they would even charge? I mean, this stuff takes time.
Or Congress can do an investigation.
Congress can do an investigation?
Benghazi, I mean, it's sad, and it's really sad that 4 people passed away in Benghazi, but that was their whole thing for 6 years, a long ass time. And now we have something like this that it probably they're like, I don't even know. And then the judiciary wants to do the thing where they take everything, and it's like, it's just so much. It is information warfare via overload. I have to agree with you 100% on that. And I'm sorry, I don't know how to fix it.
You're at the podium, AG. You're supposed to have all the answers.
We love you, though.
Of course.
Hey, I'm just here to tell you about it. All right, guys, one last thing before we get out of here, and we are so late. And
thank you for your question, by the way.
Yes. Thank you for your question. We do this every live show. It's one of my favorite things to do. Let me get my microphone. What? All right, so we're going to divide this room into 3 parts. We're going to go you guys, like right here, you guys. You guys are the middle, and you guys are over here. And what I need is for...
It's like the same problem, different side.
You've all played left, right, center. Come on.
We're all left, but you're still the middle and the right. Over. And, so I need you guys. Your note is fucked. Can I hear it? Fucked. That's you too. Fucked. Your note is fucked. Yours is fucked. Fuck. 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 All right, now we're gonna do this. And usually we talk about Manafort. But
Who's fucked this week?
Is he
Us? Oh, I was gonna say who's this week?
Here's who I think. I think we should do this. Epstein is fucked. You guys are awesome. Woo! I've been AG.
I've been Jaleesa Johnson.
I've been Jordan Coburn.
I want to thank Asha, Rangappa, and Andrew Torrez. This is Mueller, She Wrote. Mueller, She Wrote is produced and engineered by AG with editing and logo design by Jaleesa Johnson. Our marketing consultant and social media manager is Sarah Lee Steiner, and our subscriber and communications director is Jordan Coburn. Fact-checking and research by AG, and research assistance by Jaleesa Johnson and Jordan Coburn. Our merchandising managers are Sarah Lee Steiner and Sarah Hirschberger Valencia. Our web design and branding are by Joelle Reeder with Moxie Design Studios, and our website is MuellerSheWrote.com.